Costa Mesa police pursue armed suspect.
Major intersection right there. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Making a hard right from that center divider. Right.
An armed suspect led authorities on a dangerous chase after shooting at another vehicle.
I didn't know my mic is open. They should be on the street, making very dangerous moves, but that one deputy.
The suspect was driving a bronze Honda Civic. The suspect was speeding, driving the wrong way, and running red lights.
Open, and also the passenger door.
The suspect again is wanted for a car-to-car shooting. This was picked up in Lakewood. It's the Lakewood.
Doors open. Doors open. I'm sorry, Mara, I didn't mean to cut you off. Looking at a very dangerous pursuit, not just the fact that this driver has been reckless beyond reckless out here. We're in the Newport Beach area at this very moment. You can see that silver vehicle wanted for a car-to-car shooting. So those suspects, I'm telling you, whatever law enforcement is going to be behind it, they are not going to give it up. They want to bring this thing to an end. It started in the Lakewood area of all places, on the 90 freeway, high speeds. That's one of the reasons why Skyfox took so long to get here, because it was moving away from us for most of the time. He was on a number of freeways, number of opportunities to ditch that vehicle. He has it. Right now, it looks like he's running right up that center road there, so basically going against traffic. Now, the Sheriff's Department, Lakewood Sheriff's, that's that first vehicle right there, and that one, you know what, that deputy gets a gold star. Safe, but always right behind him. They also have the benefit of the helicopter above, giving some of the ground crews or ground units, the opportunity to set up in other places to try to get right out of the car. But right now, look at 82 miles an hour. We're on surface streets out here in the Costa Mesa area. Excuse me.
Honda Civic. Again, this has traveled many miles because it was picked up in the Lakewood area. The Lakewood Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department is in pursuit of this driver. Stu, you mentioned as it crosses over the yellow lines there, weaving through traffic. Yep, in the center divide. Stu, you mentioned suspects. So what do you know about how many people are actually inside the wanted vehicle? About how many people are actually inside the wanted vehicle?
Do we have a receive light? Oh, okay.
Stu, do you hear us? All right, we're still continuing following this pursuit. Again, from what we understand.
Right there again, doing that same maneuver that he's been doing here for a while, just riding that center island. That was one of the things also I was just going to mention. Some of those center islands, they're a little bit elevated. At those high speeds, if that driver's not paying attention, that might bring this thing to an end. Right now, wrong side of the road. You can see those deputies. They're not going to take that chance, but they're going to keep an eye on where this guy is going. Coming up to a major intersection right there. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Making a hard right from that center divider right there, continuing on. Brookhurst is the street. Clearly you see that right now. The speeds are always dropping when they make those high-speed turns, but he's really pushing that little Honda Civic. And again, deputies Lakewood down here in the Orange County area right now. They have their helicopter above it. They've been following this pursuit for most of the time. The reason why they don't want to give this thing up is this is a very dangerous suspect, and it's also going to be interesting when it comes to an end because that driver wanted for a car shooting, so that's a good possibility that that driver is. Deputies right there, not sure what they're doing, but they are making some moves. It's giving this suspect an opportunity to kind of put some distance between him and those deputies. Now the helicopter's keeping an eye on him as well, so even if they don't see him, they're getting information that he's making his way back out onto Brookhurst. Just heard the deputy in the helicopter say that. Those officers, they're kind of stuck there in traffic, but right now I would guess that they're going to start. The cruisers have all come to a stop. They've been told to disengage. There's a good chance that somebody. Right, Bobby, we've been given a bunch of information. I'm not sure what you heard or what you didn't hear. We were just talking in the blind, but the deputies basically got the word from their desk, and maybe because they're watching it on our station, to basically back down. They backed down just for a moment or two, but that gave this suspect plenty of time to create a distance between him and those deputies on the ground. There's the one now is just finally catching up. The helicopter's been above it the entire time, not giving up at all, but it would have been interesting to see those deputies give up on a suspect that's wanted, an armed suspect, or probably armed, because this vehicle's wanted in a car-to-car shooting. Right now, though, you can see the local law enforcement, we talked about that a moment again, too, in the area blocking traffic to try to keep the public safe. Now, that one Lakewood deputy moving very, very quickly this afternoon, that suspect basically did not slow down. I was kind of curious to see, without those deputies behind him, is he going to slow down or not? There hasn't been any change in the driving. This vehicle still keeping speeds well above what they should be on the street, making very dangerous moves. But that one deputy from Lakewood Sheriff's Department really keeping up this afternoon. Bobby?
We are on, Stu, right now, Adams Avenue and Mesa Verde Drive in Costa Mesa. Speeds are picking up yet again, more than 70 miles per hour on these surface streets as these unassuming, innocent drivers don't know that this dangerous pursuit suspect is coming up behind them. The suspect, again, is wanted for a car-to-car shooting. This was picked up in Lakewood. It's the Lakewood...
Doors open. Doors open. I'm sorry, Marla, I didn't mean to cut you off. The doors are opening. It's kind of interesting. The passenger's door, they've been saying this earlier, too. Nobody's going to jump out of that car at 70 miles an hour. And if they do, well, then they're more foolish than I would even guess. But, yeah, you can see the driver's door is kind of popped open, and also the passenger door. Well, that was so close right there. So close in that intersection, running a solid red. And you can see now those deputies, they're not going to make that move. They've actually dropped off a little bit. But, again, it does look like these suspects are making that attempt to maybe ditch that vehicle. Right now, though, we seem to be on one of those big roundabouts. We'll see where this vehicle goes. Every maneuver it has made has been dangerous for the most part, Marla. And, you know, I heard you mention that, you know, folks not knowing. That's one of the benefits, even when they're high speeds like this, to have some form of law enforcement behind a suspect vehicle. Those lights and sirens, you know, they're enough to get anybody's attention driving. And when they do, you look around. That's just that's what people do, and they might see it.
You know what's crazy about this also?
Making another turn right there.
What's crazy about this, Stu, is I know you're keeping a close eye on the car here, but we're also watching the speedometer there. 90+ miles per hour, and we're talking about through
wrong side of the road,
through surface streets, wrong side of the road, weaving around cars, door open. Doesn't even look like the driver has that much control of the vehicle.
Sorry, Bobby,
right past that black and white. Go ahead.
I didn't know my mic is open like that, but he just almost clipped an officer that was basically on the wrong side of the road, just driving probably to get to this chase. I don't know if you saw it right there, was right underneath those trees, but this just getting more and more intense. The close calls, the numbers are climbing. You know, odds, every time he gets one of those close calls, you just think to myself, I think to myself, is that, you know, how many more of these can this guy do? And right now, 80 miles an hour, Costa Mesa surface streets out here. Yes, the roads are wider, but, you know, you're going 80 miles an hour. Anything could happen. Nobody's going to be pulling out of an intersection, looking down there. You see a car coming. You're not thinking that guy's going 80, and you might think, oh, I'm clear, and pull out right in front of this guy. Right now, law enforcement, difficult for them to stay behind it because of the high speeds and, of course, those close calls. But the helicopter from the LA Sheriff's Department still here with it, making calls, telling the guys on the ground what's going on and where this car is.
Law enforcement officers always keep public safety at the forefront of their pursuit techniques and their strategies. How do they go about getting somebody as dangerous as this off the road without harming any innocent drivers? As we see the suspect again weaving in and out dangerously close to other innocent drivers. You know, we talk about a pit maneuver. This suspect is driving way too fast for that, Stu, because that needs to be done. Yep. I think the max is 35 miles per hour. So we've seen excessive speeds. So that's not necessarily an option. The spike strips could be. That's what they do a lot of times. They strategize. So what we don't see from up above, they're already planning ahead to try and get ahead of the pursuit suspect. We've seen that a lot. And it also depends on if they're on a surface street or on a freeway, Stu.
That's right. Well, right now we've made our way back onto the 55 South, and this is generally the area where we just picked it up. We came live. This is where he was. 55, if you don't know, ends on Newport Boulevard down here, and basically he's getting back into that same thick traffic. This was a spot where the sheriffs were thinking they might be able to maybe do something to bring this to a stop, but again, you can see those deputies have to fall back a little bit. That vehicle continues to move on. That helicopter, that's the one connection to law enforcement on the ground right now. That officer in that helicopter, excuse me, that deputy, they like to be called deputies because that's what they are. Those deputies inside that helicopter, they're going to keep an eye on it. They're calling out the streets. We're listening to what they're saying, and they're trying to coordinate. Now, is the local law enforcement going to get involved? You know, there's a good possibility that might happen, even if they, you know, they don't, especially if they don't see any other law enforcement on the ground. I'm sure they have a way to listen in. Hopefully they are, so they're keeping a tabs on where this pursuit is in their area. So it's going to be interesting to see when this comes to an end, how they take this person into custody, making his way back into another mall. That, I'm sorry, Marla and Bobby, that's one of the concerns. That's the guy just basically running out of his way. That is one of the concerns that I was thinking about. There's a lot of shopping down here. And if he makes his way into a large shopping center, we've seen it in the past, they dump the car in the parking garage and they run and try to blend into what's going on at a mall. He didn't do it that time, but he's driven by a couple of large, you know, he drove by South Coast Plaza earlier on. Right now, looks like he's trying to just blend in a little bit, but those high speeds and those maneuvers and that helicopter, he's going to call him out every time.
Well, like you said, pretty impressive that the LA County Sheriff's deputy from the Lakewood division there has followed this throughout this entire pursuit,
cool,
a very dangerous pursuit. And I would surmise that because it's going through several different jurisdictions, Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, Huntington Beach, because it presents so much of a danger to other drivers on the roadways, to pedestrians, that they would in some way get involved with all of this. But the pursuit does continue. Now we're on West 17th Street, this driver continues to break a lot of traffic.
If that is still the case, but covered many miles now in Orange County. Last check, Costa Mesa, and you see the driver there, according to our extreme nav technology, is now on Placentia Avenue and Hamilton Street in the Costa Mesa area. Speeds, though, more reasonable right now, 40 miles per hour or so. But again, as you pointed out, Bob, you saw speeds of upwards of 90+ miles per hour.
90 miles per hour on surface streets. And it's the other thing that they have to really keep into consideration here is that this is believed to be a suspect that is armed and dangerous, a shooting suspect. So even when this does come to an end at some point, that's one thing that they're going to have to take into consideration, is that the person is possibly armed. We just saw just a few moments ago, just across the screen, that was the LA County Sheriff's Department helicopter overhead too. So we do know that the sheriff's helicopter is following this suspect as it continues to go through the Costa Mesa area. Stu, up in Sky Fox, we saw that the driver's side door kind of propped open, as Marla said, driving at a really high rate of speed. We still don't know whether or not there's anybody else in this vehicle other than the one person.
Bobby, I can answer that question for you. We know that there's somebody in the passenger seat as well. When the driver's side door was opening, the passenger door was opening as well. Might not have been able to see that, but in this helicopter, my monitor is very good, and he definitely has two people, at least two people inside that vehicle, the driver, at least one passenger. It seems like he's slowing down a little bit. Now, don't know if this is like the adrenaline's wearing off for that driver, or possibly he's thinking that maybe he's not being followed anymore. But as soon as I say that, making a hard turn right there, it does seem like he picks these parking lots, and that's kind of interesting because there you go, this is right what I was trying to explain was, you know, every time he seems to pick a parking lot, it seems like he's able, there he goes on the sidewalk right there, cutting across, wrong side of the road. You know, he always finds a way out, and then he found a way out that way. And apparently here comes they're re-engaging right now, meaning those black and whites on the ground. They're basically going to be lights and sirens trying to catch back up to him. So you're probably going to see some of those speeds pick back up again. Is this good? Is this bad? The only thing I can say is that at least the lights and sirens from the law enforcement will give the public heads up that something's going on. But the way this guy is driving, those high speeds, those quick maneuvers, those crosses and against other vehicles, and the red light running. That's just every time he gets through one of those major intersections down here and running a red light, I tell you, my blood runs cold. We did see it was a very tight shot, but it did seem like there he goes again, going back into a parking lot. I don't know if this isn't, you know, if he knows the area this well, where he knows that there's a way to sneak out, because there you go. He basically, how did he know that? Whoop, right and right. Oh, almost. And that kind of Orange County law enforcement, I'm not sure if this is going to be Costa Mesa PD or what the law enforcement is out here, but they are not engaging because it might not be their pursuit. But believe me, if that suspect would have bumped into that car, then all bets are off. Those officers are going to do what they can to bring this guy into custody. Again, right now, 60 miles an hour. Busy afternoon out here, beautiful day, running red lights through major intersections. It is just a recipe for disaster.
Hey, Stu, can you confirm the intel that we received that this is, in fact, related to an incident that was being investigated by Alhambra Police Department? Was that, in fact, a car-to-car shooting that happened under the jurisdiction of Alhambra PD?
Marla, that part, that's a little, that's for our assignment desk. We picked it up. We got the notification. We were starting up for the noon show. We got the notification from our desk saying, "Oh, this looks like it might be over." Maybe not. That was kind of weird. Maybe he's just trying to park it. But yeah, the only thing we know is armed suspect pursuit, wanted for a car-to-car shooting. It almost looks like, I hope he's not playing, just taunting those officers or those deputies down there, because it's a cul-de-sac, so this is a dead end. So we'll see what happens right there. Of course, possibly armed suspect, probably armed suspect. And there we go. Doors are open. Ditching the car.
There he goes.
This isn't good. Justin is telling me that he might have something inside his hand. Look at that. Look at that. Just the way he was running right there, jumping up on the hood, making this run. It does definitely look like he has something in his hand. Is it a cell phone? Is it a weapon? This is what officers have to deal with. And why would you take it with you? That was for him. This is the way these end in such poor ways. I'm just, be careful, Justin, right now, because that definitely looks like a gun. And if the officers show up, they are not going to be.
We're going to have to be careful here, Stu, because it looks like he appears to be cocking the weapon, the gun.
He does.
So he does. He is armed. We do believe he's armed from what we can see from this live shot.
Don't tell me he's.
And this suspect quickly losing steam here as he continues to run, jumped over a fence or a wall, and then runs, and it's almost like he's hobbling at this point.
It looks like some sort of a business complex or a school, as you pointed out, Stu. And you have to remember, there's another, there was a passenger as well.
Yeah, the passengers seem to be kind of stagnant at the car. The driver running now looks like he's making his way. He's going out to the car park. We're working with Adam at Artillery today. He hasn't taken cover anywhere, but this is something dangerous. No.
Oh my goodness.
No. Oh, you can see that guy. He's like, yeah, I got nothing to do with it. Take my car. Yeah, and you got to wonder, is there keys in it? So, and it looks like we're at a school. That definitely looks like a play area. He's out of the car, Justin. He's out of the car. He's running again.
So
out of the car, running again.
There must have not been keys inside the vehicle or something? He's got hands up in the air.
Okay, something's going on. Law enforcement's got to be somewhere right around the corner. Oh, thank goodness. But again, this guy not in custody. Not in custody. And you can clearly see where these officers are at. They are going to approach with caution. And again, we saw it. This guy definitely had something that clearly looked like a weapon. And this is what officers deal with more often than we ever even see in the news. And, is it a gun? Is it a phone? Is it a real gun? All those things, and you have to make those decisions in a split second. And you can see the officers basically taking cover around that car he tried to take and making his way. They are going to approach with caution. There is no doubt. And we're going to play the safe side, maybe push into the officers, Justin, for right now, and see how they take this guy into custody. But super tense moments, huh, guys?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, maybe someone could help us with the location here. I know we say Newport Boulevard and Victoria Street, but it did appear as if there's some sort of a school or a campus nearby. Then here is a parking garage. Several officers have now descended on the scene here. The suspect, armed, we saw at one point, now has his hands up in the air as they try to take the suspect into custody. This has just been such a wild pursuit, and there you see the suspect still has his hands up in the air. That's definitely a good sign.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's also a good sign that that other innocent driver, seemingly the owner of the red vehicle there that we're now pushing into, that person wasn't carjacked, and how scary that was for that man. and then to have that gun pulled on him. So we have the suspect surrounded. But it's interesting the stance that they're taking, using the vehicle sort of as the cushion between the suspect.
Just take a peek, Justin. Be careful. Just take. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know you're monitoring the situation there, and I know we're trying to be very careful here because the suspect is armed. And we have to also remember we did follow this one suspect. This was the driver in the pursuit, but we do believe that there were 2 people inside the vehicle at the time. This was a pursuit that again started in the Lakewood area. Lakewood sheriffs following the suspect. And there you see that the suspect is on the ground, hands out, but there's still no telling whether or not, oh, there they are.
There you go. There they are. Sorry about that. We had to reposition Skyfox. We couldn't see him when he laid down there on the ground from our position. But bad decisions by that suspect on just the things that were going on this afternoon. But definitely coming to an end. Thankfully, no civilians hurt that we have seen during this chase. No officers hurt as well, but it does look like multiple agencies out here just from the different uniforms. But that suspect in custody, and Bobby and Marla, we will get the exact location where this is as soon as we see this guy is in the custody and we can move the camera around a little more freely. Copy.
Suspect in SUV leads Los Angeles authorities on chase in Long Beach. 3 young men led authorities on a high-speed chase in Long Beach. They were driving a stolen white Kia SUV before ditching it and running for cover. Commentator Mr. Stu.
That's right, Colleen. You may have noticed we've been showing you this white Kia SUV on the right side of your screen for the past few minutes as LA County Sheriff's Department has been pursuing this driver through the streets of Carson. There is a wild and dangerous driver behind the window of that tinted vehicle right there. You can see the missing door handle on the driver's side of the vehicle. That male with a hoodie continues to keep peering up at the helicopters. He knows that there are people on his tail. However, this has been in and out of pursuit mode. At one point, they did authorize a pit maneuver. The most recent update is that they have pulled off completely. They have abandoned this pursuit, but we are sticking with this driver because he is posing a danger to the community here. He is has been traveling at a very high rate of speed, upwards of 70 to 85 miles per hour down surface streets, and now there is talk of getting the California Highway Patrol involved in this case. We don't know what the original want is here, but in any event, he is now underneath or coming out the other side of the 710 freeway, eastbound on Del Amo Boulevard. He appears to be alone in the vehicle, but the driving has been such that he has come into a number of close calls, almost causing severe injury, and we're going to continue to keep an eye on this to see if California Highway Patrol picks this pursuit up once again. Again, we do not know what the original want was. We're going to actually just be getting an update right now from the Sheriff's Department. This is a stolen vehicle. So a grand theft auto suspect on the run here, making very erratic moves, a wild U-turn here, illegal U-turn, as he continues to try and basically try and probably look for a place to hide out, dump the vehicle at some point. He does know that there are authorities on his tail. He is very, very keenly aware of the pressure on him. We'll see how the behavior changes here, but we'll continue to follow this guy, Colleen. Southbound 710. Look out for CHP. I know, I saw that. Scanner 1. The pursuit, you could come back to me. The pursuit is not back on, but the airship is following, and he's picking up speed. Look at this, 100 miles per hour. Yeah, we got to take this, 110. Copy. Using the shoulder. Here we go. Yeah, first we were on surface streets. He got tired of fighting traffic on the Del Amo Boulevard and eventually got onto the southbound side of the 710 freeway doing speeds in excess of 110 miles per hour, has now made his way into Long Beach, getting off of the freeway at the end of the 710 here, and now on Anaheim Street as he now makes his way off of the freeway, still doing extreme speeds here. California Highway Patrol monitoring this driver who was in pursuit by the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department gave up on the pursuit, but the driving behind the wheel has maintained a very dangerous speed. You can see that Sheriff's helicopter still overhead, keeping an eye on the suspect. California Highway Patrol monitoring on the ground, deciding whether to engage with this suspect. But the driving, as I mentioned, is extremely dangerous and has had a number of close calls with other motorists. Now he's on surface streets here in a more commercial area. We're at Magnolia Avenue and Loma Vista Drive. He's making his way through this residential neighborhood now on the other side of Loma Vista, on the other side of Magnolia, I should say. And we'll see if anybody engages with him. He has not shown signs of dumping the vehicle, but we do know that this is a stolen vehicle. Grand theft auto suspect behind the wheel, doing speeds at times in excess of 85 miles per hour on surface streets, was touching 120 miles per hour on the 710 freeway. But again, it's a question mark as to whether there he is. He's dumping the vehicle. 2 passengers, or 1 passenger, a driver, 2 passengers, 3 total running out of the vehicle, dumping the vehicle, now running into a neighborhood, through an apartment complex in a back alley, making their way through here. There is no sign of law enforcement on the ground. There is a helicopter overhead. We're going to stick with the driver here as he continues to run for his life through this neighborhood. Again, down in an alleyway off of Electric Court and Loma Vista Drive. 3 suspects dropping that vehicle off and running for it in 3 different directions. Now climbing onto private property, over fence, into another apartment building here. We're going to come around here and see if anybody is able to catch up with them, but it looks like these 3 suspects are going to find space to hide out in this community at Electric Court and Loma Vista Drive after a dangerous pursuit, eventually giving up, dumping the vehicle, and now 3 suspects again on the run here trying to find a hiding spot and just wait out the cops, because right now there is really no sign of law enforcement anywhere around here except for the helicopter who has been monitoring their movements. We just saw the driver come around the building there. He's underneath that staircase, possibly in the first floor of this apartment building. and now looking for a spot to hide out. But you can see a lot of commotion now as folks start to wonder what in the world's going on here. They hear the helicopters. You saw that guy running through this private property. Again, we don't know if he has any connection to this property or if he just randomly ran in here. It looks like it was a more random run, but we'll see if anybody from law enforcement shows up, whether it's California Highway Patrol or potentially even the Long Beach Police Department. Colleen?